Well, let me see a quick show of hands. How many of you would jump at the opportunity to book a vacation with a travel agent who only revealed the itinerary information for the first leg of a 7-leg journey? Those other 6 destinations and how you would get there, well, they would remain a mystery, only to be revealed once your journey began. How many people think that sounds exciting? There's not too many hands, a couple, but not too many. And yet, that is the story of our lives. Because life is, in fact, a series of journeys, a series of unknown journeys. Now, perhaps we know, or at least we think we do, what to expect as we set out towards our next destination, but quickly and inevitably, our journey becomes a voyage into the unknown. Whether our journey then will be joy-filled or disaster-riddled, whether it will be meaningful and fulfilling or a series of disappointments, depends on how we pack for the journey, as I hope this following story demonstrates. Now, my grandfather was a farmer. At least that's what he was on the first leg of a career journey. But then, as life happens, unexpectedly, he also became an insurance agent and a real estate broker, a lumber mill owner, and the mayor of a small town outside of Memphis, Tennessee. And he worked until he was 92 years old. And by work, what I mean is that he would drive his pickup truck out each morning to inspect his fields, which now he leased to other farmers. And if they passed inspection, then he would settle in behind the desk in his insurance office and read the paper. Now, he no longer had any insurance clients, just the office and the newspaper. He died when he was 96. And Barbara and I went to his funeral. It was not unexpected. He was 96. But nevertheless, it was a sad journey. Not a journey of our choosing. But sometimes journeys in our lives, even the best journeys, start that way without our consent. And after the funeral, and of course this is Memphis, Tennessee, so the requisite pulled pork sandwiches, from Sparky's. Sparky's is the local gas station, grocery store, barbecue house, all in one. Then the grandchildren and our spouses, we decided to go out and inspect the fields on our grandfather's behalf. Now, being 2 generations removed from our grandfather farmer, we did not have the sense to change out of our funeral formal wear. But then again, we were only going on a 20-minute drive. We made our way in the pickup truck and a car down a dirt road through one of the fields until we came to a little gully. And thinking that it might be too rough for the car, we all piled into the pickup truck. And with city slicker bravado, we made great progress all the way down the gully. It was on the way up that the unforeseen second leg of our journey began. The Tennessee red clay gave way under the tires. The faster they spun, the deeper they sank. So a few of us decided to go out and to push, which seemed like a great idea, right up to the point that our new black suits became the canvas for the pickup truck's version of a red clay Jackson Pollock painting, mud splattered from hair to toe. It was a sight that apparently amused the cattle because they all started to gather around. And I can't remember now why we thought it was a good idea. Since the truck had gotten stuck, we thought maybe the car could tow the truck out. And so we went to go get the car. That was the beginning of our unforeseen third leg of our journey to the cow pasture. And as you might expect, this idea served only to entertain the now burgeoning cow herd, because the car also got stuck. That is when we made friends with the pig farmer next door. And if you're counting along with me now, that's unforeseen itinerary stop number 4. And I don't think it was really a pig farm, because he only had one pig. But what he lacked in the number of pigs, he made up in the size of his one pig, because it was a massive 600-pound sow, whose tremendous weight caused her to sink a good 1.5 feet into the mud of her pen, which we did too. Because to get from the pasture to the pig farmer's house, you had to slog through the pig pen. And from there, we used the phone to send out the SOS that there was trouble in the cow pasture. Again. At this time, the sun was beginning to set. And there was a beautiful red-orange twilight in the sky, which added a majestic glow to the pecan trees that surrounded the pasture like gallant knights standing guard over the cattle and us 10 wayward grandchildren and spouses, disheveled in our formal dress and suits, some covered from top to bottom, others only from knees down, with red clay and a pungent ammonia odor that was coming from, well, I'll just call it mud, from the pig pen. Soon serenaded by gentle moves demanding an encore to our performance, the sound of no less than 3 tractors, a veritable town-wide rescue effort in the small town, was blazing toward us at 5-mile-an-hour tractor speed. When the car and the truck were finally freed, so too were the stories. The stories of numerous other troubles from that pasture's past. The time when a swarm of bees attacked my cousin who was fishing. The time when one of us, that was me, fell out of a back bed of a pickup truck playing a game that only my brother and I could dream up. It was a contest to see who could grab the most amount of leaves off of a tree as the pickup truck passed by. And instead of grabbing leaves, I grabbed onto a branch and fell out of the truck. And the time when one of my cousins had to hold the flashlight for our grandfather as he helped bring a calf into this world who was being born breech. The unforeseen itineraries that day could have been a nightmare. They could have been a time of anger and blame, for clothes ruined, for dinners missed, and arguments over who was going to explain the smell to the rental car agent at the airport. But it wasn't a nightmare. It was a celebration. It was a celebration and an adventure that brought family closer together, that strengthened lifelong bonds. It was a celebration of helpful neighbors and life itself, even in the shadow of grief and loss. What made it a celebration and not a nightmare wasn't how well we were prepared for the known. It was how we responded to the unknown. After all, we didn't bring the right clothes. We didn't have the right monk boots. We didn't rent the right 4-wheel drive vehicle at the airport. But what we did have was an appreciation for one another. What we did have was love. What we did have was faith that wherever our journey took us, God would hold us, and we would hold each other. And that freed up the ability to appreciate the journey and to find within it moments of joy and laughter and healing, even when, and perhaps especially when, the unexpected and the difficult occurred. There's so much in our lives that we cannot control. And if we try, we will make ourselves and those around us miserable. On the other hand, there is much we can control in our lives. We can control whether or not we will have an open heart, or whether we're willing to lend a helping hand to those who need it. We can control whether or not we'll offer forgiveness, or whether we'll hold on to a grudge forever. We can control whether we'll get angry over our unmet expectations, or whether we'll turn that anger onto those around us. How we travel, more than where we travel, will determine whether we have a great journey or a miserable one. If we travel with an adventurous heart, open to being surprised by grace, a willingness to heal ourselves and others by offering compassion and forgiveness, if we don't take ourselves so seriously that we can't laugh at ourselves and our mistakes, and if we learn to stand with one another, even if that means that we have to stand knee deep in a pig pen dirt, it doesn't matter where life takes us, because then, wherever we go, we will find the blessings of joy. We will know peace in our hearts. We will find good and faithful friends along the way, and we will find ourselves being supported and held by the love of God. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith is what holds a trapeze performer after they've let go of one swing, but before they take hold of the new one. Faith is what holds us up as well when we trust God to lead us in our lives to journeys and destinations unknown. I can't tell you where your journey will take you in life. Maybe for a time you'll find yourself also in a troubled pasture. But even there, it is possible to find grace and blessing if we are willing to let go of where we think we're headed and instead learn how to find joy, discover blessing, and be a blessing to others in unexpected places. May this summer, a time of vacation, be for you a grand adventure, no matter where you go. May it also be a time of blessed discovery. Amen.